So far away, Lucas, and lovely audience at home, welcome to another episode of Wiki Weekends, a series where we scour the lengths and breadths of the internet for a wiki on a subject we'd like to discuss and see what kind of conversation arises as we go through it. And today, Lucas, we're talking about a character who has just entered the public consciousness once again online, when the discussion arose about whether or not they could beat Homelander, and everybody decided that Homelander would have no chance. That character is, of course, Sportacus.
Go, 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 get a lazy town. It's the start of a brand new day.
So, Sportacus is the guy from that kids show, right?
Lazy Town, yes. And just, like, you've been moving for the past week or so, Lucas, and maybe you've not been online much, and over the past week or so, at least at the time of recording this, a conversation has arose online about how much Sportacus will just absolutely stomp Homelander's ass. And can I just talk about how it's really funny that every single time there is ever a discussion about could Homelander beat insert character from another piece of media, Homelander never wins.
What did you say?
Nothing. Nothing?
What did you say to me? I'm sorry.
Like, Homelander fucking sucks. Like, he can't beat anybody.
Apart from Karl on the recent death battle where they were like, no, he could totally beat Bardock, and then immediately every anime fan was just up in arms.
What was Omni-Man, wasn't it? Not Homelander.
Oh yes, it was Omni-Man.
Yeah. And I'm not going to talk about that because I don't want to piss off Dragon Ball fans. I'm just going to say Omni-Man chilled next to a black hole in one comic book. I've not seen a Saiyan do that. Or at least not Bardock level Saiyan. Like they do trade in like 400 or 500 times Earth gravity at one point. That is not anywhere comparable to a black fucking hole, but that's a story for another day. But yeah, with Homelander, there's not a single fictional character I've ever seen anyone suggest that he could actually stand a chance against, because Homelander fucking sucks. He's not that strong. It's just that he's pretty strong compared to an average human. But in every other comic and fictional universe, that's like a pretty baseline superhero, right? Like just being strong enough to lift, say, like a car is not that strong compared to some like comic characters out there.
Oi.
Yeah, and obviously he's got a couple of other abilities like fast flight and heat vision, but he ultimately is just a super nerfed Superman.
Yeah, well, I'd say he's Superman, but Superman when he was first introduced, when he could like leap tall buildings in a single bound and could and could stop a steaming locomotive. Like I think like that's about as strong as Homelander is, and that was Superman 85 fucking years ago. When the idea of a man being able to leap over a building and, like, you know, pull a locomotive was impressive. I mean, it still is, but in regards to comics and fictional media, it's really not that impressive anymore.
The power creep has set in for real.
It has, yeah. And the hilarious thing about whether or not he could beat Sportacus is the fact that within seconds, it was near unanimously agreed, Sportacus sweeps. It'd be a Sportacus sweep. And within like 5 minutes of that trending, I just saw someone retweeting with like a video of, here's Sportacus lifting a pyramid after eating one apple. Because he just eats one apple, but... If anyone doesn't know about Sportacus, let's go to the wiki now, shall we? So, Sportacus is one of the two main protagonists, alongside Stephanie, of the Icelandic children's television show Lazy Town. And Lucas, did you ever watch Lazy Town?
No, that was something that completely flew me by. Like, I was way too old for Lazy Town, and even like the other younger kids in my family and stuff, and like, you know, extended family, they were all the wrong ages for Lazy Town.
Okay, so I watched it briefly because my sister is like 12, 13 years younger than I am. So when she was younger, she'd watch this. And Lazy Town is one of those rare kid shows where it's actually super hyped to watch as an adult.
Right there, Tom! careful! Wait, Lander!
Like, Joe, there's those like kids shows that you don't mind watching as an adult, and to the point where when I went to university, I'd watch it in university with my flatmates. Because, like, you know, you're in university, you're hungover, it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, what the fuck else are you gonna do but watch some Lazy Town?
Well, obviously watch Jeremy Kyle show.
Oh, Jeremy Kyle, yeah, and there's no kids shows or shows essentially aimed at children that do have that broad appeal. Like one we've talked about in the past is like Horrible Histories, which is a series that's based on a series of books, which was also aimed at children, but adults also enjoyed.
Well, I think we should wake him up.
Wake up Adolf Hitler.
Are you mad?
The Führer is to sleep until midday.
Those are our orders.
Yeah, but this is important.
Nothing is more important than the Führer's orders.
Well, I think this might be.
Nine, he's to sleep.
Yeah, otherwise he gets very grumpy.
Well, more grumpy than usual.
Yeah.
And you ask any modern day parent who's got young kids, it's Bluey.
Bluey, yeah. And we've got a mutual friend who has kids, and he fucking loves Bluey. He's so happy that his kids like watching Bluey, and not like Paw Patrol or some shit. Because Bluey's just a fantastic show.
Dad,
Yes, mate.
if grown-ups grow from babies and only grown-ups have babies, who had the first baby?
Okay, forget the spring rolls. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah, it really seems like a universal experience that every parent is like, no, Bluey actually slaps though.
Like, Bluey's super good, and like Lazy Town was one of those shows. And one of the things that over the past week or so, I've just been watching out of context clips, and one of the things that strikes me is it's choreographed like a Devil May Cry cutscene. Like, Sportacus is doing Devil May Cry shit in that show. By which I mean, he will do everything in the most unnecessarily swag way, just because.
Hi, kids. Let's do some super moves.
Super moves ready. Ready, set, go.
And what's it gonna be? It's all in the cards. Today the super move is jumping.
Don't bet on it.
Do you remember when Lazy Town was kind of relatively new over here? I did see a lot of people trying to replicate the workouts that Sportacus does.
Yes.
And everyone just flat out was like, no, this is not possible.
Yeah. And one of the things that's interesting about the choreography for Lazy Town is that the guy playing Sportacus wrote the show. And I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce his name correctly here, but it's Magnus Shaving. And he's an Icelandic former Olympic gymnast.
Which just means he can do basically any workout or exercise that you cannot.
Yeah, and everything you see Sportacus doing in the show is something that that guy could do for real. in regards to like the Devil May Cry like style editing of the show. Like one of the examples I saw is, here's Sportacus playing ping pong, but he's playing ping pong with himself, and he's not just running to the other side of like the ping pong table to return the serve. He backflips over the table every time. And again, like obviously that's just meant for like, it's fun, it's fantastical, but people have tried to power scale that and have like, yeah, he's moving it near like, you know, like Sonic Boom levels of speed here, because he's doing a full front flip in midair and then getting to the other side before the ball hits and lands.
I'm not gonna lie, before you said backflip, I was half expecting you to say that he hits the ping pong ball around the earth to get back to himself.
The other one that I saw is, he opens a door with a yo-yo by flicking the yo-yo up and knocking out the hinges. There's a triple front flip through the door and then rolls the yo-yo up behind him and he fixes the door for him. Which is something I can see Dante doing. I can see like Dante doing that shit. But, you know, continuing on here. His name, I like the name Sportacus at least, is a portmanteau of the ancient figure of Spartacus and the word sport, which represents his athleticism. Sportacus humbly describes himself as, and I quote, a slightly above average hero, though his friends have a higher opinion of him, calling him a superhero. He speaks English and Icelandic, and is from an island in the North Sea, according to, himself. In the past, Lazytown was protected by a similar hero from that area with a number 9 on his chest. Sportacus wears a number 10. In the first episode, when Stephanie was trying to think of how to encourage Lazytown's kids to get active, she sent a message through a tube that was used to communicate with number 9, and Sportacus received her message and came to Lazytown. Exactly what this connection between number 9 and Sportacus is, was never explained in the show. And that has a lot to do with the fact it was originally supposed to be Icelandic, and then they just shipped it over to English-speaking countries because it was wild as all fuck.
Hey! Wow!
And secret tosses the balls to me.
And what I'm reading from that is the lore behind Sportacus is that it's just a mantle that gets passed on.
It's been passed on, yes. And we have here, Lucas, with any superhero, they of course have various aliases, and the aliases of Sportacus include Sportaluni, Sportaflop, the Blue Kangaroo, the Blue Elf, Sportacook, Sportasnore, Sportacrybaby, and Sportaloser. And all of those derogatory ones are by Robbie Rotten.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And even if you didn't watch Lazytown, you must be aware of them, when the internet decided that Robbie Rotten was a ledge. And I think it's the actor who played him, Karl Stephenson. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Where he was on YouTube or something, and he was just had a YouTube channel, and I was like, you know what? Robbie Rotten's got a YouTube channel. Let's fucking go.
It's fabulous, you know. The story is very relevant because you people, you're going crazy.
Played by Stephen Karl Stephenson.
There it is, yeah, Karl Stephenson. And speaking of the people in the show, one of the things I was fucking howling at during the pandemic is, again, you didn't watch the show, but you must at least recognise some elements of it, like the Sportacus character. And do you remember the character Stephanie, who's the little girl with the bright pink hair?
Yes, yeah.
The actress who played her during the pandemic, because she's she got fuck all else to do, was well, I've still got the costume, so she was making TikToks. She was just making TikToks in the costume. And when it started trending, Sportacus beating Homelander, she just popped up on Twitter of I don't know why Sportacus is trending, but yeah, it's the guy was a superhero in real life. The first day I met him, he did a backflip and hung onto a lamppost at a complete horizontal angle just because he could. It's just everything he does in the show he did for real.
Mm-hmm.
Also, he was 40 when the show aired. We have here Lucas's powers and abilities. They include high intelligence, acrobatics, fighting styles, and then he has superhuman strength, durability, speed, endurance, stamina, agility, dexterity, and the power of the sports candy, which is what he refers to fruit as.
So that's essentially his version of the Speed Force.
Yeah, and that's the thing, the show, because it's a show for kids, has a good positive message, that message being healthy eating and, exercise. And, he always claims that all of his superhuman capabilities are because, he sleeps, he gets his 8 hours, he exercises, and he eats healthy, good, nutritious food. And that's a pretty good message, considering that the guy playing him, Magnus Sheving, could do all the stuff Sportacus did in real life. At least like the physical stunts, like he did them all for real. He couldn't lift a fucking pyramid, but he could do like the backflips and the stuff like that.
Don't you lie. He could lift up a pyramid. I believe.
There's more. He lifts the pyramid because he ate one apple. What would happen if he ate 2 apples, Lucas?
As I say, Karl, an apple a day keeps the doctor away.
Well, here's the thing as well. Like, that's him eating 1 apple. What about if he ate, like, I don't know, a fruit salad? What about, like, do you like Turles when he eats, like, the fruit of the tree of might? What would happen if fucking Sportacus ate that shit? Can you imagine?
The thing is, he limits himself because he doesn't want to, like, destroy the earth with his
He
power.
might do. He's super strong. So Sportacus encourages the lazy town kids to eat fruits and vegetables, which he refers to as sports candy, and play outside instead of eating junk food and sitting around indoors playing video games. Boo. And that's why, like, Robbie Rotten as a character kind of became, like, you know, just this internet meme of he's just a guy who wants to stay in all day, eat shit, and play video games. And then there's this super buff dude's coming in telling him, no, go outside and go for a jog. And he's like, no, fuck you.
Listen closely. Here's a little lesson in trickery. This is going down in history. If you want to be a villain #1, you have to chase a superhero on the run.
You can find a balance, everyone.
Yeah. Like, sometimes I feel like being a lazy piece of shit, but other days I want to go to the gym or go for a jog or, you know, drink lots of water, for example.
Mm-hmm.
I was ill at the start of this month and I couldn't go to the gym and I felt awful for that week. Like, first couple of days when I was playing Baldur's Gate, sat on the sofa being a piece of shit, feeling sorry for myself, was fantastic. On the 4th day when I stood up, my back went, oh, okay, I need to get back to the gym. Sportacus was correct.
You needed your sports candy.
He mentioned that Sportacus is so engaged in his life of physical activity that he does gymnastics just to get from place to place, even doing acrobatic flips to get from one side of a kitchen table to the other. And he has to have children instruct him in how to relax. He also, Lucas, has a large airship, so he travels primarily, obviously jogging and gymnastics, but when he needs to get from place to place in a hurry, he will use his large airship that floats above Lazy Town.
I'm sorry, I'm new to this house, and all I can hear is like, and I'm like, is this what happens when the washing machine might be on or something?
No, I apologise.
I'm trying.
Lucas, though, just now imagine this dude has a fucking airship that floats above Lazy Town.
I mean, why not? He's the president, right?
No, he's there. There's a mayor of, like, Lazy Town. And also, as well, when your town's called Lazy Town, you're setting yourself up for failure there, right?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point. I never thought about that. Is it like he coming over to Lazy Town to teach them a better way of living or something?
It mentions that Lazy Town used to be a lot fitter and healthier, but like they kind of lost their way, and that's why Sportacus is there. And that's like usually the goal of each episode is Robbie Rotten does something bad, or like, you know, he's encouraging people to be lazy and, like, you know, not be fit and healthy, and then Sportacus comes in and teaches people a better way. And it's just that thing of like, it's the irony that Robbie Rotten is the character the internet ended up loving. Because he's evil and he loves it. And the actor was like gnawing on the scenery in every scene that he's in.
Are you a real villain?
Well, technically, nah.
Have you ever caught a good guy like a real superhero?
Nah.
Have you ever tried a disguise?
Nah.
All right. I can see that I will have to teach you how to be villains.
Which also, like, you know, just endeared people to him. Same like, I think it's one of those shows where you can tell everyone was having fun. At least like the people playing the live action, because it's also, for some reason, it's live action and puppets, which is a bit weird.
I mean, yeah, that makes sense for a kid show though.
But Sportacus just looks like a dude, and then Stephanie looks like a little girl, but then she's got like a weird bright pink wig, and then Robbie Rotten has a bunch of like weird plastic shit on his face, but then there's puppets. But then you think it's a kids show and it's made in Iceland. Who gives a fuck?
I mean, it's a kids show.
Yeah.
They don't question it.
It's like, it's just,
why should we?
You know what? Kids like bright, colourful characters.
I mean, how many times have like Muppets and Sesame Street's been puppets with live action.
Exactly, yeah. And we have here Lucas's personality and traits. So Sportacus is Lazy Town's slightly above than average hero. He is the real-life embodiment of the action figure every child dreams of becoming. Fit, agile, and an amazing acrobat with lightning-fast style. Sportacus is always moving, flipping through the air, and landing on his feet. So he just does backflips everywhere. That's what he's dancing. Well, I think Sportacus never would. If you gave him 2 pistols, he could do a rainstorm. If you gave him Elaster, or you gave him Sparta, he could do a fucking round trip. Like, with a yo-yo, which is like basically a Bayonetta weapon. Because like in Bayonetta 3, Bayonetta gets like, the yo-yo weapon. Sportacus is doing that shit. Well, I want to see what happened if I gave Sportacus, Agni, and Rudra. What would he do?
No talking.
What would you do if I gave him Cerberus or a pair of nunchucks?
I want to see what Sportacus could do if his hair was just magical abilities.
It's more like what weapon would you want to give Sportacus to see what the fuck he'd do with it? Because I want to give him a Devil May Cry weapon. Like, Robbie Rotten would have no fucking chance if you gave him Elaster. Or Sparta, or you gave him like Gilgamesh or something like that. He fucking whoop Robbie Rotten's ass.
I'm trying to think, what's the one where it just gives him like the powerful kicks and that?
That's either Beowulf or Gilgamesh.
I was thinking of Beowulf, yeah.
Like the one that has like just infused with like holy light.
Mm-hmm.
I guess Sportacus could fucking do it. Sportacus could do a Killer Bee. He could do a fucking Rising Moon. Or a lunar phase. Like, that's the thing. Sportacus could do a lunar phase. And he'd do it while playing fucking ping pong. And Dante would like, holy shit, that's rad, let's play. Mentions here that Sportacus loves to use everyday items in outrageous ways, often skipping the ordinary when he can do something with flair. No wonder he lives in an airship. And that's the thing as well, like, everything he does is with pure style, for no other reason than, fuck you, I can. And you've got to respect it, because if I could do a backflip, I would do backflips every day.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember when I was in college, there was this guy called Backflip Rick. And what do you think Backflip Rick's thing was? He could do a backflip. And he would do it every day. And do you know what? At first, when I first saw the dude, I was like, oh, he's a bit of a prick. Then I thought, so if I could do a backflip, and I could do it that quickly, that cleanly, every time on command, I'd be doing that shit every day.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like Sportacus, all the bullshit he can do, I'd be doing that shit every day. And Lucas, in that vein, is there like a cool like acrobatic trick that you wish you could do? So I think the backflip is like just the one that everyone wishes they could do, right? Because there's just something so amazing about a person who can do a backflip.
And it depends whether you're talking about like a backwards like handstand or a backwards somersault.
Ooh, the handspring's kind of fun as well.
Cooler?
The handspring would be kind of fun to do as well.
See ya. Right behind you, Kimberly.
Well, to be fair, there is one like quite impressive move that I can pull off. I don't do it every day.
Which is?
I can do a roly-poly.
Which is, is that like the woo?
Yeah.
So it's impressive. I could do a front flip on a trampoline. It's not very good, but I can do one. And I can do, I used to be able to do a one-handed cartwheel. Because I was halfway to be able to do a no-handed cartwheel, then the pandemic happened, and the first time I tried to do it after the pandemic, in front of my now ex. This isn't why she's my ex, but I tried to do it in front of her and nearly fucking broke my neck. Like, you know what? Maybe I'm too old. But then I look at Sportacus, who was 40, who was doing that bullshit thing. You know what? There's always time. There's always time to come back.
That's the thing. I used to, it took me a while to learn, but I did try a bit of parkour, and like, I was so proud on the day where I learned to do a Kong, because like I just spent several hours just running my shins into a vaulting horse.
And the Kong is the one where it's like you jump, put both hands on, right, and then flip, bring your feet forward.
Yeah.
So I also did parkour because I wanted to learn how to do flips. And I remember being immediately put off when the person who was like leading the class, when I was like, oh, when do we learn to do backflips? And we don't learn to do backflips here. It's like, okay, I'm not going to do this then.
Karl leaves.
I'm only there to do a I'm there to impress ladies. Girls might be watching. But powers and abilities. Although Sportacus does not have superpowers like those of Marvel and DC superheroes, he has superhuman physical attributes nonetheless. For example, his most remarkable feat of superhuman strength was the ability to move an entire pyramid. Which is pretty fucking strong. I would not like to hazard a guess how heavy a pyramid is, but I'm going to guess it's at least a couple thousand ton.
Wow, that's a big pyramid. I'm gonna need Sportacus. Apple!
I think it's like based on one from like Egypt, which is made of like, solid fucking sandstone, whatever the fuck. So it's pretty strong, and he does that after eating a single apple.
Yeah, bear in mind, like, it took many people to move one block in the pyramid.
And he could lift the whole thing after eating a single apple. He's also able to run 7 times faster than a motorcycle moving at full speed. And that's not even like his full speed, that's just like something he's able to do. And it's that thing is, right, if you're strong enough to lift an entire pyramid, if you can put that strength into your legs, you can jump like 500 miles into the sky. I don't care how. Like, if you're physically strong enough to lift that much weight, you can jump real high. You can jump super good.
I have never seen man fly.
I know fly. Jump good.
Can Sportacus like make it into orbit? That's the question.
He probably could. And while he's up there, then his airship picks him up and he's like, now it's time. And then he just like, while he's up there...
Is that why he's got an airship?
When he's up there, he grabs you and he turns you upside down and goes, now it's time for the Azuna drop. You're like, no! Now it's time for the apple drop. Let's go. He does have weaknesses though, Lucas, and Sportacus's main weakness is if he eats any sweet junk food, mainly Robbie Rotten's sugar kryptonite apple.
Oh, okay.
He immediately falls into an exaggerated sugar meltdown, rendering him almost powerless, nearly unconscious, or worse, to fall into an eternal slumber. Only eating healthy fruits or vegetables can reverse Robbie Rotten's sleeping curse and restore his fantastical capabilities.
Pretty glaring weakness.
It is, but at the same time, with how strong he is, how are you going to fucking force him to eat sugar? I think it's Robbie Rotten tricks him into eating an apple by dressing like a kindly old lady, a la, is it Snow White who falls asleep when she eats the apple? It is, right?
It's the poison apple.
The poison apple, yeah. It's like, it's reminiscent of that.
It's disguise time.
Oh, hello, young man.
Who are you?
If, like, Robbie Rotten got him to eat the apple through subterfuge. Like, oh, here is a healthy or fresh apple. It's like, no, it's loaded with sugar, baby. But not that good kind of sugar. It's like the bad sugar.
You sneak all that bad stuff into a smoothie and he'll never know until he's drank it.
And the show, for as like fantastical and stupid as it can be, I do appreciate its message because, I was never its prime audience. Like, even when it was airing, I was like, 15, 16 years old when like my sister was watching it. I was never its primary audience, but I can appreciate its message to the little kids watching at home who will be, hey, they see Sportacus do something incredible, fantastical. I'm like, wow, I'd love to be able to do that. It's like, well, how would I ever get to the point where I'm able to do a backflip? Or like, do press-ups, or be super strong, or have arms like you, or run real fast, or do a pull-up. And it's like, well, it starts with healthy eating, drinking lots of water, being kind and patient, and a good friend.
And then he missed out the part where he spent 12 hours every single day in a gym.
Well, to be fair, you do see him doing that because he's always fucking working out. And to end on, Lucas, like, we open this video with the discussions of the who would win in a fight argument that's ever popular online. Are there any like sillier examples of that you would like to see explored or discussed, like, a la like Death Battle or something? Because while you ever think, the one that I bring up every time I stream the game Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance over on Twitch, which I do near enough every single Friday, links found below, is Senator Armstrong. Because the multiple times I've played through that game, I've come to appreciate how ridiculously strong Senator Armstrong, and by extension, the main character of the game, Raiden, is. Because, okay, during the game, like he's a physical stalemate to Raiden.
Typical politician. Big promises, but all talk.
What?
And he's shown as being pretty tough. But when you actually think about what he's capable of doing and what he's physically matching, I'd say he's up there with a fucking Hulk. Or at least like base form Hulk. So I think Senator Armstrong could easily beat up MCU Hulk. No problem.
Let's go.
The hell are you thinking?
And I think he would have a good chance against various incarnations of comic Hulk before he goes ridiculous and starts destroying planets. Because Senator Armstrong physically stalemates Raiden, who can lift up Metal Gear Excelsius, which weighs several thousand tons. And he physically stalemates Raiden, if not like proving that he's physically stronger than him, which means he's capable of lifting in excess of several thousand tons. He's also durable enough to punch a sword that can cut through several feet of titanium with his bare hands.
That's the best you got.
And he snaps that sword with his bare hands.
Nice.
He's also able to reattach limbs after they're cut off in the rare event he is actually hurt.
Not bad, son. But, like Monsoon said, losing a limb or two won't stop us.
Nanomachine, son.
It's Nanomachine, son, yeah. But it's that thing of like, just when I play the game and I point out, like, this guy is up there with like base form Hulk. Because like base form Hulk is said to be able to lift 100 tons, which is fucking nothing. Raiden can throw 100 tons 15 feet into the air with his shit body before he gets an upgrade. When he throws like Metal Gear Ray into the air and slices it in half before it even touches the ground. So I think like Senator Armstrong, or like during those conversations come, I think he should come up in more of them, because one, it's funny because you get to reference like the Nanomachine Sun line, but also the stuff he does is really fucking impressive if you actually break down what he's doing. Like just the fact he's able to physically punch Raiden's sword, which can which is shown in gameplay to cut through near enough everything else in his universe. And I think Death Battle worked out. Raiden's sword could cut through adamantium.
And that's the way that the high-frequency blade specifically works, right? Yeah.
Vibrates at such a high frequency, hence the name high-frequency blade, that it like basically just separates atoms as it slices. And Senator Armstrong doesn't give a fuck.
And it's funny because we've had this discussion out of recording every now and then about like the fact that, Raiden just casually throws Metal Gear Ray like it's nothing.
Yeah, and that's with his default body. That's the body from Metal Gear Solid 4. He gets an upgrade in Metal Gear Solid Revengeance after the first mission, which makes him like 10 times stronger.
And it's funny because I was kind of thinking that, and bear with me a little bit, when I played Astrobot.
Okay.
Yeah, I was fighting against one of the bosses in Astrobot, and I don't know canonically how tall Astrobot is, but this robot was, say, 100 times, 200 times the size of Astrobot himself.
Yes.
And Astrobot punched that thing into the space to explode like a firework.
Which is pretty strong.
And I just all that popped into my head was just what does that mean? Yeah. Astrobot's strength level is at.
And that's the problem with stuff like Death Battle, where it makes you think like that. Whereas, presumably when they were making Metal Gear Rising Revengeance, they weren't physically thinking, okay, what is the absolute totality of Raiden's physical strength? It's like, no, what would look cool in this moment? Let's only flip the fucking robot. And it's weird nerds like me who go, okay, how much does that robot weigh? And then they use that and go, okay, that robot weighs 1,000 tons, and Raiden can lift it, and then Armstrong's stronger than him. What does that mean? It's like, they weren't thinking of that when they were making the game. They just thought it'd look cool. But the problem is that once you've put it in, and you've established that that's possible, it kind of is now part of that universe. Like with Astrobot, they probably thought, it's just cool that Astrobot can uppercut this robot into the atmosphere and explodes. But now you've established that Astrobot is strong enough to do that.
And you did mention, what battle I would like to see, and only because it popped into my head when we were talking about Robbie Rotten,
which is
that character looks like another person, and I would like to see Robbie Rotten versus Waluigi.
Ooh, that could be fun.
And I just think that would be an absolute goofball of a battle, right?
That would be a fun battle. I'm not sure what Robbie Rotten's powers are, but he's physically quite strong. He's because he's a cartoon villain. Cartoon logic applies to a lot of what he does. Like, he gets hit by a lot of what would be debilitating, crippling injuries for a normal person, but he walks them off. He's fine because it's a kids show and he can't be hurt. But again, if you think about what that actually means, like when he gets hit by a cannonball and walks it off, and it's just like it's an annoyance to him, and he's supposed to be physically quite weak. So okay, but he's super weak and he can survive being hit by a cannonball. What does that mean for Sportacus, who's physically 25 times stronger than he is in the show?
Exactly, and that kind of applies to a similar character in Waluigi, where Mario is a very cartoony kind of logic world, and Waluigi gets annihilated by chain chomps and bullet bills and explosions and stuff all year long. And it would be very funny to just see these two just weird looking dudes fight.
And that's the thing, so you'd also get the wah. You'd also get the absolute bopping fucking soundtrack. You get to put Waluigi pinball in the battle. So the person I'd want fighting, I'd want Armstrong fighting Colossus. I think that's the fight that I'd want to see.
Colossus is going down in 3 hits, right?
And if you're going to go by death battle rules, which is probably the gold standard for this sort of thing, at least online, the characters do have to have a similarity in some way, whether it's in how their powers work, their characterization, or the series that they're from. And I think Armstrong is stronger than Colossus on paper, unless it's bullshit Juggernaut Colossus, but the way their powers work is similar enough where it'd be a fun fight. But I do think Armstrong would beat Colossus. I
think Armstrong would easily beat Colossus as far as just regular X-Men Colossus is concerned, but just they do make for an appropriate themed battle.
So I think Armstrong could beat the fucking Megazord.
Ooh.
I think he could do because he beats up Excelsior. So he screams and Excelsior explodes. That's the thing. Is because it's so. And you think, well, you only see him for a little bit in the game, but just the fact he almost beats Raiden. And one of the things that Raiden does, I think Death Battle calculated this. So when he slows down time with Zandatsu, he's swinging his sword at a quantifiable percentage the speed of light. Because they calculate that by showing when he's swinging his sword, there's raindrops falling, and the raindrops don't move. And he swings his sword 6 times while the raindrop moves 1/4 inch. Which you calculate is a percentage the speed of light. And Armstrong sees that and punches it. And I don't think the Megazord could deal with that of a man punching at a quantifiable percentage the speed of light.
Yeah, because if he stalemates Raiden, and Raiden makes real light work of Metal Gear Ray, then I don't think that, unfortunately, I don't think the Megazord would stand much of a chance.
Yeah, he's wild, but he's just a guy. That's what makes it so funny. And that's why I love power scaling arguments like the one with Sportacus. They're well, he can lift a fucking pyramid. Homelander can't do that. So Homelander gets stomped. Homelander would have his ass beat in 5 seconds.
That's the thing, Homelander couldn't lift a building.
No. He very explicitly can't lift a plane. That's not how his powers work. Because he has to adhere to physics, and seemingly Sportacus doesn't. Because he ate an apple. He ate one single apple.
The thing is as well, because as far as I'm aware, there's no binding agent in a pyramid if it's in the style of an Egyptian pyramid.
It's just
it's just blocks stacked on top of one another. Which does mean that his power set is that he's so strong he somehow keeps that structure together while he lifts
just defies physics.
Yeah.
But you know what? That'd be a fun battle. You know what? Let us know, folks at home, if you have any like theoretical battles you would like to see play out. Even if the characters aren't that evenly matched in terms of their power set, just because you think thematically it'd be interesting. Like I said, Senator Armstrong is one that I play the game every week and it's just really funny that every time I replay it, I notice something else he does. I was like, that's fucking broken as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, just the fact he punches Raiden's sword. He catches it in his bare hands and snaps it. And that sword could theoretically cut through fucking adamantium. And he's like, nah. That's his answer. No. Fuck you. Cheers, everybody.